After final accounts adjustments, I want to go for a new topic, that is bank reconciliation statement. In simple terms, it is known as BRS. And this is very, very common for every businessman. Whether you take a sole trader, whether you go for a partnership business, whether you go for a joint stock company, this bank reconciliation statement is very, very important. Okay, when we take into account when we are getting money, we have to deposit the money in a bank. Okay, for that you have to open a ledger account, okay, bank account in the ledger, and you have to post all the transactions, whatever you do that through bank. And when we go for bank, okay, especially here when you are going for a business, you have to you have to open a current account in the name of the business. In the name of the business, you have to open a current account. Okay, it is different from savings bank account and fixed deposits. It is nothing but demand deposits or current account. And in the name of the business, in the name of the company, you have to open a bank account. And when you want to enter all the bank transactions, you have to go to ledger and you have to open a bank account, and there you have to keep all these things. That is, you have to show all the postings in the bank. And in order to go and in order to open a separate bank account, some business people, they feel that it is very tedious and they will go to the cash book, where you will come across cash and bank columns. Here, when you take into account cash book means, it always refers to a bank column only. You have to consider that as bank column only. Okay, and when you come across this bank transactions, automatically you can enter the bank transactions in the bank column. Thereby, you can be in a position to know the bank balance as well as cash balance at any given date of time. And whatever it may be, the transactions that we come across regarding banks, okay, they must be shown in the cash book, that is bank column. Cash book in the sense, you have to keep in mind that it is nothing but bank column. Okay, on the receipt side you will come across one bank column, on payment side also you will come across one bank column. And when you deposit, when you go and when you open an account with a bank, the bank people, they'll give a book. A book is nothing but, it is nothing but a record that was maintained by the banker in his bank. The duplicate copy of that they'll give to the businessman, and they will call that thing as bank statement or passbook. And whatever it may be, the transactions that you will come across with a bank, all the transactions will be recorded in the bank passbook or bank statement. And here, when we go for cash book, the left hand side portion will call that thing as receipt side, and the right hand side portion will call that thing as payment side. Now, when we go for a bank passbook or bank statement, it is just quite opposite. It is just quite opposite. That is, the right hand side they will call that thing, they'll name that as deposit side, and the left hand side they will call that thing as withdrawal side. And in a passbook, you'll come across date, particulars, okay, and LF, and withdrawals, deposits, and balance. Whenever every businessman, they have to go to bank and they have to update the passbook in order to know what is the balance on a particular date of time. And generally speaking, the cash book balance as well as passbook balance, they must tally with each other. When they tally with each other, there is no necessity for us to go and think about this bank reconciliation statement or BRS. In practical life, in practical life, One thing you have to keep in mind is that these two books they won't show the same balance. Then what we have to do? We have to reconcile. We have to reconcile both the books. And whatever it may be, the statement that we are preparing for reconciling the balances of cash and passbook, we'll call that thing as bank reconciliation statement or BRS. Okay. Now, when we go for cash book, I'm starting from cash book. When receipts are more than payments, okay, when receipts are more than payments, we will come across a balance, and that balance we'll call that thing as favorable balance. In the same way, when we go for deposits, when deposits are more than withdrawals, then also that balance we'll call that thing as a favorable balance. This is favorable balance as per cash book, and that is favorable balance as per passbook. Okay. Now we have to go for the other side. When payments are more than receipts, okay, when payments are more than receipts, you will come across a credit balance in the cash book and debit balance in passbook. And we will call that thing as overdraft balance or unfavorable balance. Okay, in cash book, once again I'm repeating, in cash book, when payments are more than receipts, you'll come across unfavorable balance or bank overdraft, whatever it may be. And when withdrawals are more than deposits in passbook, then also you'll come across unfavorable balance or overdraft. And when these two books, that is cash book and passbook, when they show the same amount, we can say that there is no necessity because the two amounts are tallying with each other. The two amounts that are tallying with each other, then there is no problem at all. But practically speaking, these two balances, sorry, these two balances they won't coincide with each other. Then comes the importance of reconciliation of these balances. That is cash book balance with passbook balance or passbook balance with cash book balance. Then you have to prepare a statement, and that statement will call that thing as bank reconciliation statement. And this is compulsory for every businessman, whether you go for a sole trade business, partnership business, or company business, whatever it may be, the type of business. This bank reconciliation, preparation of bank reconciliation statement is compulsory. You cannot avoid that. You cannot avoid that because the two balances they are not equal. They are not same. They are different. They are showing variations. Okay, when they are showing variations, it is your duty, it is the duty of the businessman to reconcile these two balances. It is not the duty of the banker to reconcile these two. It is the duty of the businessman to reconcile both the balances and see that they are showing a definite balance on a given particular time period. So, like this, the importance of BRS, Bank Reconciliation Statement, we will come across. And slowly we are entering into this. So, first of all, let us go for the cash book. Okay, fine, good. Cash book. I told you that when receipts are more than payments, it is nothing but favorable balance. And when payments are more than receipts, it is nothing but unfavorable balance. So, favorable balance, they will increase by a receipt and decrease by a payment. Unfavorable balance, increase by a payment and decrease by a receipt. Okay, when we go for the passbook, favorable balance as per passbook, it increases by a deposit and decreases by a withdrawal. Unfavorable balance as per passbook, it will increase by a withdrawal and decrease by a deposit. Quite opposite. And you will have relation between the cash book receipt side and passbook deposit side. In the same way, you will have relationship between payment side and debit side of passbook. Whatever it may be, the receipts that you come across, whatever it may be, the receipts that you show on the receipt side in the bank column of a cash book, the same amount will must appear on the deposit side of the passbook. The relationship is this thing. Whatever payment that you show on the, I mean, in the cash book, the same payment it must be shown on the debit side of passbook. That is the relationship that you will come across. So receipt side will have a direct relationship with deposit side, and withdrawal side they will have equal relationship with payment side. Okay, and sir, you may ask me, sir, why we will come across so many differences? Why the differences may arise when we are recording all the transactions in a perfect manner? Okay, why the differences they must come? Naturally, they will. They mean you will come across differences somehow. You cannot deny that. You cannot deny that, and you cannot remove that. Okay, so when you come across the causes, then you can be in a position to rectify them, and you can be in a position to reconcile the two books. And what are the various causes that we come across? Okay, to show the differences between the passbook and cash book. Okay, fine. Let us just observe those things. Yeah. What are the causes for the difference between cash book and passbook? Okay. First one is checks issued but not presented for payment. First one is checks issued but not presented for payment. When we are giving checks, we'll show that on the same day in the payment side of the cash book. But when those checks, whatever we issued, they must be presented into the bank. Until then, the bank people they won't enter this. So when we are entering checks in the cash book on the issue date, what will happen? The cash book balance will come down, and passbook it will show more amount because these checks were not presented. So passbook automatically it will show a higher balance. And if you want to reconcile in between these two things, between these two dates, if you want to reconcile, then what will happen, sir? Cash book will show less amount and passbook will show a higher amount. And how to reconcile that? Either you have to reduce that amount from the passbook or you have to add that to the cash book. Then only they'll be equaled. This is nothing but one cause for the difference between cash book and passbook. The second one is checks deposited but not yet collected by bank. Checks deposited but not yet collected by bank. You see, when you are keeping the checks in the bank, on the same day in your cash book, you will write that checks were deposited. But one thing you have to keep in mind is these checks, whatever you have deposited, they must go to the clearing office and they must come from the clearing house. Then only they will show that the bank people. Then only the deposit amount will appear. Until then, okay, you will come across a difference between cash book and passbook. Cash book will show more amount because you have deposited that in the cash book, but they have not yet collected from the clearing house. That's why passbook will show less amount. And in between these two balances, if you want to go and see what is the balance of passbook and cash book, they won't coincide with each other. Then you have to think about reconciling, reconciliation. Okay, that is the second cause that we come across. And third one is interest on investments, dividends, interest on deposits, etc., created in passbook but not entered into cash book. When you come across interest on investments, dividends, and interest on deposits, all these things, the bank people they'll show that on the credit side of your account, but they won't inform you. Mind it, they won't inform you. So when they are deposited, when they are shown on the credit side of passbook, automatically the passbook will show a more amount and cash book will show a less amount. Then you have to go for reconciliation. Then you have to think about reconciliation. And another thing is bank charges, interest on overdrafts, insurance premiums, etc. Okay, sure, I mean paid by bank under standing instructions. Okay, some people what they will do is a bank will do general services. The customers they will give some standing instructions. Okay, to the bank, and according to the standing instructions, the bankers what they will do is they will show bank charges, whatever it may be, interest on overdrafts and insurance premiums paid, all those things on the debit side of passbook, and they won't let it know to you. That is, they won't inform you. Then what will happen, sir? The cash book will show more amount, and as well as the passbook will show less amount. Then you have to think about reconciliation. Okay, next one is amount directly deposited by the customers of the trader into his bank account. Suppose a customer, when he know about your bank account, what he will do is directly he will go to a bank and he will deposit the money in your account. And the banker, they won't inform that, and they will take that and they will show that on the deposit side. So in that case, the passbook will show more amount, and whereas the cash book will show less amount because the banker didn't inform that. And moreover, the trader he didn't deposit that. A customer he came directly to the bank and he deposited that. Then automatically the passbook will show more amount and the cash book will show less amount. Then you have to think about the reconciliation between these two balances. Next, checks deposited but not entered in cash book. See the peculiarity. Checks deposited, you will deposit the check in the bank, but you won't enter that in the cash book. When you deposit the check in the bank, automatically the banker will show that on the credit side, that is on the deposit side, he will show that amount. And it is your mistake that you didn't enter that in the cash book. Then also you'll come across difference between the passbook as well as cash book. Passbook will show more amount because of the deposit, and cash book will show less amount as the deposit was not recorded. Next, checks debited in cash book but omitted to be sent to bank. Checks debited in cash book. Okay, you will show that you received some checks from some so and so person, like that you will receive. You will write in your cash book. You will show that on the debit side. Checks debited to cash book but omitted to be sent to bank. But you forgot to send them to bank. You'll take the checks, you'll enter the checks in your cash book and you'll keep that in the drawer, but you won't see that the check should be given to bank. You'll forget that and you'll omit that. Then what will happen? When you see the cash balance, it will show a high amount, and whereas the passbook balance will show a less amount. It is due to the omission. It is due to the omission, it was not recorded in passbook. Then what to do? You have to think about reconciliation. You have to, whatever it may be, the cash book balance, when it is showing more, you have to reduce that and you have to add that. Then only the two balances will be reconciled. Okay. Next, sometimes you'll come across errors also. And this thing tomorrow we are going to read. Thank you.